present music from our Fall 2020 Chorale Showcase. The singers assembled behind me have been rehearsing all semester on campus, following the strictest COVID protocols, wearing masks, and of course, socially distancing. This presents unique challenges to the singer, but I'm very proud to say that those who are going to be presenting the music tonight have not only acclimatized to the circumstances, but have gone above and beyond to learn music and to perform at a very high level despite the disadvantage of singing with a mask and at distance. The repertoire you're going to hear tonight will span a gamut running from 16th century Renaissance motets, madrigals, and mass settings, all the way to contemporary pop a cappella. We're going to begin with a setting of the Agnus, a famous text from the Catholic Mass Ordinary, written by William Byrd in the late 16th century. This would have been during the reign of Elizabeth I. This is the Agnus from Byrd's Mass for three voices. This one titled, "Oh Sleep on Fancy." If one reads between the lines of the text, one can clearly see that this song is no more dissimilar from today's music than any other number of madrigals from the Renaissance period. In other words, it's a love song.
Sleep on fancy.
way through this a cappella set, you'll notice, of course, there are no instruments, there's no piano, and that presents a distinct challenge to any singer trying to hear their pitch in a vacuum, if you will. So the next four numbers will also be presented a cappella. And this next one will probably be familiar to anybody here who's a Disney fan, because this is a setting of probably the most famous song from the Disney 80s. This is Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid.
Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Wandering free, wish I could be part of that world. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Whoa, look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here you think, sure she's got everything. Whoa, I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got plenty. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want more. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them, feet. Whoa, flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street. Whoa, up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Wandering free, wish I could be part of that world, that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? Oh, what would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand, warm on the sand? Betcha on land they'd understand that they don't reprehend their daughters and women, sick of swimming, ready to stand, ready to know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it? What's the word burn? Whoa, wouldn't I turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above? Out of the sea, out of the sea. Wish I could be, wish I could be part of the world.
That's our great tenor's anthem there on the long sustain note at the end there. Well done, Adam. Well, next up, a song that seems distinctly appropriate for 2020, does it not, Chorale? Here's Mad World, famously recorded by the band Tears for Fears, but probably familiar to most listeners today because it was featured in the film Donnie Darko. And if someone had told me that the world we're living in now would not seem so strange compared to the world of Donnie Darko, well, clearly they hadn't heard of 2020 yet. So here is Mad World in the Dorian mode. Next number is quite different from the last thing we did. This is a tune that many will recognize. It's originally by the band Fall Out Boy, and it may not seem on the surface that it would make for a great a cappella arrangement, but I've done my best to create an a cappella arrangement out of it. Singers are more than up to the we're sing along at home. I think you'll know the chorus.
swinging. I'll be another one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Going downtown, early around. And sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be another one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Am I more than you bargained for yet? Oh, don't mind me, I'm watching you two in the closet, wishing to be the friction in your jeans. Isn't it nice to be here? I want to be here. Just imagine your bedpost, but you're just a line in this song. You're just a line in this song. Drop a heart, break a name. We're always sleeping on wrong team. Now we're going downtown, early around. And sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be a number one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Going downtown, early around. And sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be a number one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Downtown, 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 downtown. We're going downtown, early around. And sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be a number one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Going downtown, early around. And sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be a number one with a bullet. A loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it. Downtown.
All right. For our next and final song, we're going to be singing something that was, I think, on people's radar in recent months because it was a remake of the Disney movie Mulan. They made it into a live-action film, and arguably, of the original soundtrack from Mulan, our next number is the most famous one. It's called Reflection, and we're going to feature our very own Ari Donofrio here as a soloist. So you'll notice that the chorale here is going to be negotiating between different keys. One of the tricky parts about writing this arrangement was keeping it faithful to the original, which starts in F and then within 8 bars is in A flat major. So we waffle back and forth between a couple of keys, and there's some surprising chords, which is easy enough to sing when you've got a piano accompanying you, but when we do it a cappella, you've got to have really good ears, and I'm really just so thrilled with how the chorale has been singing this next arrangement, which is on the more difficult side.
Look at me, you may think you see who I really am, but you'll never know me. Every day, it's as if I play a part. Now I see, if I wear a mask, I can fool you, but I cannot fool my heart. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? When will my reflection
NVCC Chorale. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for our Fall 2020 Musical Theater Showcase. Assembled on stage here, we have 10 of the finest singers on the NVCC campus. And as you can see, this is a rather unconventional presentation. Following the strictest COVID protocols with masks and social distancing, each of these singers will be designated a specific spot on stage and a specific microphone to sing into. And therefore, there will be limited blocking in what you're going to see. And the gesticulation and the storytelling will happen in a limited physical space. Nonetheless, I think that the singing you're going to hear tonight will no doubt impress you as some of the finest you've heard in a very long while. It's been a great gift to put this showcase together, and some thanks are in order before we get started. First, an amazing collaborative effort that has come together and has enabled us to stream this performance thanks to the folks in the DAT department under the leadership of Professor Ray Lee. Thank you so much, Ray. Pleasure to work with you always. And second, our fine theater personnel, including our lead sound engineer, Brian Kelly, and the inimitable Chris Varenko, who's up in the studio booth right now. Thank you, Brian and Chris. We can't have a physical audience in our lovely main stage theater, but we hope that you're comfortable at home right now watching on our YouTube live stream. Thank you so much. We're going to begin with Mama Who Bore Me, the opening number from Spring Awakening, and our soloist here is Katie, over on my left, your right.
Mama, for me, Mama, who gave me no way to handle things, who made me so sad. Mama, the weeping, Mama, the angels, no sleep in heaven or Bethlehem. I pray that one day Christ will come a-calling. They light a candle and hope that it glows, and some just lie there crying for him to come and find them. But when he comes, they don't know how to go. Mama who bore me, Mama who gave me no way to handle things, who made me so bad. Mama the weeping, Mama the angels, no sleep in heaven or Bethlehem.
We're now going to commence with the first set of the evening. It's going to present excerpts from, well, a show I'm sure many of you are familiar with, and that's Hamilton. We're going to start with our very own Jalon Copeland. Say, you can go ahead and wave, Jalon. Jalon's going to be singing the role of King George III, the rather loquacious king of England at the time of the Revolution. This is You'll Be Back.
You say the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your tea, which you hurl in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember we made an estrangement. I'm your man. you'll be back. Soon you'll see, you'll remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. Just remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall, just when seeing each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send my firmly armed battalion to remind you of my love. Da 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 da. You say your love is draining and you can't go on. You'll be the one complaining when I am gone. No, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject. My sweet, submissive subject. My loyal subject. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. For your love, for your praise. And I won't stop until my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad. Don't you throw away this thing that we had. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 da. Everybody. Da 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 da.
Awesome stuff. Jalon there in the role of King George III, and you'll be back. For our next number, it's going to be a trio, the Schuyler Sisters, featuring our very own Kennedy, Ivanelie, and Jocelyn in the roles of Eliza, Angelica, and Peggy, respectively. Time to go to work.
Mr. Bursar. One, two,
the poor. They pull up in the carriages and talk at the college and the students just to watch them talk. Take Philip Schuyler, the man is loaded. Uh-oh, but little does he know that his daughters, Peggy, Angelica, Eliza, slip into the city just to watch all the guys at
Work, work, Angelica. Work, work, Eliza.
And Peggy.
Work, the Schuyler sisters. Angelica.
Peggy.
Eliza. Work.
Daddy said to be home by sundown.
Daddy doesn't need to know.
Daddy said not to go downtown.
Like I said, you're free to go, but look around, the revolution's happening in New York. Angelica. Work.
It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war.
People shouting in the square.
It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shores.
No ideas in the air. Look around, Angelica, remind me what we're looking for.
She's looking for me.
Eliza, I'm looking for a mine at work, work. I'm looking for a mine at work, work. I'm looking for a mine at work, work. Whoa, 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 work.
There's nothing like summer in the city. Someone in a rush, next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smell like your daddy's got money. While you slumming in the city and get fancy heels. While you're searching for an urchin who can give you ideals.
Burr, you disgust me.
Ah, so you disgust me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Some men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And we dive Thomas Jefferson. I'll compel him to include women in the sequel work. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world, in the greatest city in the world. Cause I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Some men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, and I'm not created equal. Look around, and how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world, in the greatest city in the world. Jellicoe, work, Eliza, and Peggy, work, the Schuyler sisters, work, we're looking for a mind at work, hey, work, in the greatest city, in the greatest city in the world.
We're going to keep one of our Schuyler sisters with us next. She's going to switch from Peggy over to Eliza. Joci, you can go ahead and give us a wave. Thank you so much again for spending some time with us this evening and getting to know our singers. So here is Helpless.
Hey, 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 hey,
Ooh, I do. Hey, ooh, I do. Boy, you got me helpless. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. Down for the count and I'm drowning in them. I have never been the type to try and grab the spotlight. We were at a revel with some rebels on a hot night, laughing at my sister as she's dazzling the room. And you walked in and my heart went boom, trying to catch your eye from the side of the ballroom. Everybody's dancing and the band stopped volume, crying to the rhythm as we wine and dine. Grab my sister and whisper, yo, this one's mine. My sister made her way across the room to you, and I got nervous thinking, what she gonna do? She grabbed you by the arm thinking, I'm through. And you turn back to me and smile, I'm helpless. Oh, look at those eyes.
the sky's the limit. I'm helpless.
I know.
Down for the count and I'm drowning in them.
I'm so into you.
Look into
I
your
am
eyes
so
and the
into
sky's the
you.
limit.
I'm helpless.
Down for the count and I'm drowning in them.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
And by all means, lead the way.
Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler,
My sister.
Thank you for all your service.
if it takes a war for us to meet, then I'm sure it would have been worth it.
I'll leave you to it.
1 week later, I'm writing the letter nightly. Now my life gets better every letter that you write me. Laughing at my sister cause she wants to form a harem.
I'm just saying, if you really loved me, you would share 'em.
Hot 2 weeks later, in the living room stressing. My father's stone face while you're asking for his blessing. Dying inside as you whine and dine. And I'm trying not to cry cause there's nothing that your mind can't do. My father makes his way across the room to you. I panic for a second thinking we're through. But then he shakes your hand and says, be true. And you look back at me and smile and
Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. Down for the count and I'm drowning in them. Helpless.
That boy is mine.
Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless.
So helpless.
Down for the count and I'm drowning in them.
Eliza, I don't have a dollar to my name in Anchorland, a troop to command, a dollar for fame. All I have is my honor, a tolerance with pain, a couple of college credits and my top-notch brain. Insane, your family brings out a different side of me. Peggy confides in me, Angelica tried to take a bite of me. No stress, and love for you is never in doubt. We get a little place in Harlem just to figure it out. I've been living without a family since I was a child. My father left, my mother died. I grew up buck wild, but I'll never forget my mother's face, and that was real. As long as I'm alive, Eliza, you'll never have to feel so.
I do.
I
for the count and I'm drowning in them. Helpless. I look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. Down for the count and I'm drowning in them. In New York you can be a new man. In New York you can be a new man. In New York you can be a new man. Helpless.
We go from one Schuyler sister to another. Well, we've got the wedding angle here. For those of you familiar with the plot from Hamilton in Act 1, Eliza meets Alexander Hamilton and sparks fly. But those are not the only sparks that fly that night. There's another Schuyler sister who's got designs on Alexander, but as we'll see in the next song, things don't go her way. Let me introduce the fabulous Amelia McGee here as Angelica Schuyler.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Now, give it up for the maid of honor, Angelica Schuyler.
A toast to the groom,
To the groom, to the groom, to the groom,
to the bride,
to the bride,
The bride.
to the bride.
sister.
Angelica,
It's always by your side,
by your side.
to your union,
To the union, to the revolution.
and the hope that you provide.
You provide.
Always be satisfied.
Remind.
I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days. I remember those soldier boys tripping over themselves to win our praise. I remember that dream like candlelight, like a dream that you can't quite place. But Alexander, I'll never forget the first time I saw your face. I have never been the same. Intelligent eyes and a hunger pain frame. And when you said hi, I forgot my dang name. Set my heart aflame, every part aflame.
This is not a game.
Strike me as a woman who has never been satisfied.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean. You forget yourself.
You're like me, I'm never satisfied.
Is that right?
I've never been satisfied.
My name is Angelica Schuyler.
Alexander Hamilton,
Where's your family from?
unimportant, there's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait, just you wait.
So is this what it feels like to match with someone at your level? What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom, of seeing the light. It's been franking with the key and a kite. You see it right. The conversation lasted 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Everything we said in total agreement. It's a dream and it's a bit of a dance. A bit of a posture, it's a bit of a stance. He's a bit of a flirt, but I'ma give him a chance. I asked about his family. Did you see his answer? His hands started fidgeting. He looked askance. He's penniless. He's flying by the seat of his pants. Handsome boy, does he know it? Peach fuzz, and he can't even grow it. I want to take him far away from this place. Then I turn and see my sister's face, and she is helpless. And I know she is helpless. And her eyes are just helpless. And I realize 3 fundamental truths at the exact same time.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
Number 1.
I'm a girl in a world in which my only job is to marry rich. My father has no son, so I'm the one who has to social climb for one. So I'm the oldest and the wittiest, and the gossip in New York City is insidious, and Alexander is penniless. That doesn't mean I want him any less.
Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a
Schuyler.
pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler.
My sister.
Number 2.
He's after me because I'm a Schuyler sister. The elephant's a status side. Have to be naive to set that aside. Maybe that is why I introduced him to Eliza. Now that's his bride. Nice going, Angelica. He was right. You will never be satisfied.
Thank you for all your service.
If it takes winning a war to have met, it would have been worth it.
Number 3.
I know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. If I tell her that I love him, she'd be silently resigned. He'd be mine. She'd say I'm fine. She'd be lying. But when when I fantasize at night, it's Alexander's eyes as I romanticize what might have been if I hadn't sized him up so quickly. At least, my dear Eliza's his wife. At least I keep his eyes in my life. To the groom,
To the groom, to the groom, to the groom,
to the bride,
to the bride,
To the bride.
to the bride.
your sister,
Angelica,
is always by your side.
by your side.
To you,
To the union, to the revolution.
and the hope that you'll provide.
You provide,
May your
always
be satisfied. And I know she'll be happy as his bride. And I know he will never be satisfied. I will never be satisfied.
Amelia McGee as Angelica Schuyler there. And of course, a shout out to all our supporting cast members who have just stepped in to fill in these roles. If you know the musical Hamilton, you look very closely at the score, you'll find that almost everything involves ensemble of some sort. I think we only have one out of song in the entire set that doesn't. Well, next up, we're going to go to one that's going to feature one of our two males in the class. And I want to introduce in the back row over there, Mr. Xavier Casimir. Not only does he speak a little bit of German, but he's also going to be singing some Aaron Burr for us today in what Lin-Manuel Miranda himself described as one of the best songs in the show. I think we can all agree with that, especially when Xavier sings it. Here's Wait For It.
Theodosia writes me a letter every day. I'm keeping her bed warm while her husband is away. He's on the British side in Georgia. He's trying to keep the colonies in line. Well, he can keep all of Georgia. Theodosia, she's mine. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. Takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep loving anyway. We laugh and we cry and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason, I'm by his side, and so many have tried. I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. My grandfather was a fire and brimstone preacher.
Preacher, preacher, preacher.
But there are things that the homilies and hymns won't teach ya.
Teacher, teacher, teacher.
My mother was a genius.
Genius.
My father commanded respect.
Respect, respect.
When they died, they left no instructions, just a legacy to protect. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive and everyone that loves me has died, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it.
I'm the one thing in life I can control.
Wait for it, wait for it.
I am inimitable, I'm an original.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it.
I'm not falling behind or running late.
Wait for it, wait for it.
I'm not standing still, I am lining way.
Wait, wait.
Hamilton faces an endless uphill climb.
Climb, climb.
He has something to prove, he has nothing to lose. Hamilton's faces relentlessly waste no time.
Time, time.
What is it like in his shoes? Hamilton doesn't hesitate. He exhibits no restraint. He takes and he takes and he takes, and he keeps winning anyway. Changes the game, plays and he raises the stakes. And if there's a reason he seems to thrive and so many have died, then goddamn it, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints.
It takes and it takes and it
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait.
Mr. Xavier Casimir there. I'll wait for it. We're now going to have our first ensemble number from the Hamilton set. This one takes place, what's the year, folks? 1789, that's right. It's the Battle of Yorktown. And let me just point out a couple of people to listen for here. Miss Ivanelie Mangual is going to be rapping the role of Hamilton. We've got Mr. Jalon Copeland over there, the Marquis de Lafayette. And our very own Sierra Silva, who you're going to hear a little bit later on in the role of Hercules Mulligan.
The Battle of Yorktown, 1781.
Monsieur Hamilton.
Monsieur Lafayette.
In command will you belong?
How you say, no sweat.
Good.
We're finally on the field, we've had quite a run.
Immigrants.
We get the job done. So what happens if we win?
We go back to France to bring freedom to my people if I'm given the chance.
We'll be with you when you do.
Go lead your man.
I'll see you on the other side.
Till we meet again.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot.
Till the world turns upside down.
Till the world turns upside down.
I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. This is where it gets me. On my feet, the enemy ahead of me. If this is the end of me, at least I have a friend with me. Weapon in my hand, a command in my mind with me. Then I remember my Allahs is expecting me. Not only that, my Allahs is expecting. We gotta go, gotta get the job done. Gotta start a new nation, gotta meet my son. Take the bullets out your gun.
What?
The bullets out your gun.
What?
We move undercover and we move as one. Through the night we have one shot to live another day. We cannot let a stray gunshot give us away. We'll fight up close, seize the moment and stay in it. It's either that or meet the business end of a bayonet. The code word is Rochambeau. Dig me?
Rochambeau.
You have your orders now, go men go. And so the American experiment begins with my friends all scattered to the winds. Lawrence in South Carolina, redefine and brave. We
We'll never be free until we end slavery.
When we finally drive the British away, Lafayette is there waiting in Chesapeake Bay. How did we know that this plan would work? We had a spy on the inside, that's right,
Hercules Mulligan.
I'm spying on the British government. I take the measurements of formation and then I smuggle it.
What?
To my brother's revolutionary covenant. I'm running with the Sons of Liberty and I am loving it. See, that's what happens when you up against the ruffians. We in the shit now, somebody's gotta shovel it. Hercules Mulligan, I need no introduction. When you knock me down, I get the fuck back up again.
Left, right, hold. Go. What? What? What?
After a week of fighting, a young man in a red coat stands on a parapet.
He frantically waves his white handkerchief.
And just like that, it's over. We tend to our wounded, we count our dead.
Black and white soldiers wonder alike if this really means freedom.
Not yet. We negotiate the terms of surrender. I see George Washington smile. We escort their men out of Yorktown. They scatter home single file. Tens of thousands of people flood the streets, their screams and church bells ringing. And as our fallen foes retreat, I hear the drinking song they're singing.
The world turned upside down. The world turned upside down. The world turned upside down. The world turned upside down, 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 down,
Freedom
down.
for America, freedom for France.
Down, down, down.
Nation gotta meet my son.
Down, down, down. We won. The world turned upside
These Hamilton ensemble numbers are so fun to put together, and of course, anybody who knows Yorktown knows that there's got to be a dance involved, so hats off to Sierra there, who not only raps the role of Mulligan, but also choreographed that whole thing herself. So, next up, we've got another ensemble for you. This takes us to the end of Act 1 of Hamilton. The war is over now, but as it says in the show, winning is easy, governing is harder. We start to see the rivalry develop between Burr and Hamilton, who are at the center of this next number. It's called Nonstop, and adds the role of Alexander Hamilton. We're going to welcome back Sierra, and in reprising the role of Aaron Burr, Mr. Xavier Casimir in the back there.
After the war, I went back to New York.
After the war, I went back to New York.
I finished up my studies and I practiced law.
I practiced law, Burr worked next door.
Even though we started at the very same time, Alexander Hamilton began to climb. How to account for his rise to the top? Man, that man is non-stop.
Gentlemen of the jury, I'm curious, bear with me. Are you aware that we're making history? This is the first murder trial of our brand new nation, the liberty behind deliberation.
Non-stop.
I intend to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt with my assistant counsel.
Co-counsel Hamilton, sit down. Our client, Levy Weeks, is innocent. Call your first witness. That's all you had to say.
Okay, one more thing.
Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room?
Hey!
Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room?
Hey!
Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room?
Hey!
Soon that attitude may be your doom.
Why do you ride like you're running out of time?
Hey!
Every day you ride like you're running out of time.
Hey!
Every day you fight like you're running out of time.
Hey!
Keep on fighting in the meantime.
Non-stop.
Corruption's such an old song that we can sing along in harmony. And nowhere is it stronger than in Albany. This colony's economy's increasingly stalling, and honestly, that's why public
He's
service
just
seems to be
non-stop.
I practiced the law, practically perfected it. I've seen injustice in the world and I've corrected it. Now for strong at doing democracy. If not, then I'll be Socrates throwing verbal rocks at these mediocrities.
Hamilton at the Constitutional Convention.
I was chosen for the Constitutional Convention.
There as a New York junior delegate.
Now what I'm gonna say may sound indelicate.
Goes and proposes his own form of government.
What?
His own plan for a new form of government.
What?
Talks for 6 hours. The convention is listless.
Right, young man.
Yo, who the F is this?
Why do you always say what you believe?
Hey, why do you always say what you believe? Hey,
Every proclamation guarantees free ammunition for your enemies. Why do you ride like it's
going out of style. Hey,
Every day you ride like it's
going out of style. Hey, every day you fight like it's going out of style. Do what you do.
Alexander?
Aaron Burr, sir.
Well, it's the middle of the night.
Can we confer, sir?
Is this a legal matter?
Yes, and it's important to me.
What do you need?
Burr, you're a better lawyer than me.
Okay.
I know I talk too much. I'm abrasive. You're incredible in court. You're succinct, persuasive. My client needs a strong defense. You're the solution.
Who's your client?
The new U.S. Constitution?
No.
Hear me out.
No way.
A series of essays anonymously published defending the document of the public.
No one will read it.
I disagree.
And if it fails?
Burr, that's why we need it.
The Constitution is a mess.
So it needs amendments.
It's full of contradictions.
So is independence. We have to start somewhere.
No, no way.
You're making a mistake.
Good night.
Hey, what are you waiting for? What do you stall for?
What?
We won the war. What was it all for? Do you support this Constitution?
Of course.
Then defend it.
And what if you're backing the wrong horse?
Burr, we studied and we fought and we killed for the notion of a nation we now get to build. For once in your life, take a stand with pride. I don't understand how you stand to the side.
I'll keep all my plans close to my chest.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait.
I'll wait here and see
Which way the wind will blow. I'm taking my time, watching the afterbirth of a nation, watching the tension grow.
I am sailing off to London. I am accompanied by someone who always pays. I have found a wealthy husband who will keep me in comfort for all my days. He is not a lot of fun, but there's no one who can match you for turn of phrase. My Alexander.
Angelica.
Don't forget to
Where
ride.
you are.
Look at where you started. The fact that you're alive is a miracle. Stay alive, that would be enough. And if your wife can share a fraction of your time, if I could grant you peace of mind. will it be now?
Alexander joins forces with James Madison and John Jay to write a series of essays defending the new United States Constitution entitled The Federalist Papers. The plan was to write a total of 25 essays, the work divided evenly among the three men. In the end, they wrote 85 essays in the span of 6 months. John Jay got sick after writing 5. James Madison wrote the other 29. Hamilton wrote 51. How do you write like you're running out of time? How do you write like you're running out of time? Every day you write like you're running out of time, like you're running out of time, like you're running out of time. How do you write like tomorrow won't arrive? How do you write like you need it to survive? How do you write every second you're alive? Every second you're alive, every second you're alive.
They're asking me to lead. I'm doing the best I can to get the people that I need. I'm asking you to be my right hand.
Treasury or state?
I know it's a lot to ask.
Treasury or state?
To be behind the world, you know.
Sir, do you want me to run the Treasury or State Department?
Treasury.
Let's go.
Alexander,
I have to leave.
Alexander.
Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now.
Helpless.
They're asking me to leave.
Look around, isn't this enough? He'll never be satisfied. He'll never be satisfied. Satisfied. Satisfied.
Why do you assume this mushroom? Why do you assume this mushroom? Why do you assume this mushroom? That attitude may be your doom. Why do you ride like you're running out of time? Why do you fight like history has its eyes on you?
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my
Just you wait, Alexander Hamilton, Hamilton, just you wait.
I am not throwing away my shot.
We're almost at the end of our Hamilton set, but a couple of shout-outs are in order here in the front row here. Hi, Emily. You can wave to us. Emily in the role of Eliza. Schuyler there. Nay Schuyler Hamilton. In the back row, hi, Brianna. Go ahead, give us a wave. As Angelica, and you heard Jalon over there soaring on History Has Its Eyes on You in the role of George Washington. We're now going to welcome a couple of singers who you've heard from some of them so far, but this one is going to feature our very own Katie, who opened the show here. It's called Take a Break. And it's also going to feature Kennedy. And it's also going to feature Joci in the role of Philip Hamilton. Poor Philip, he didn't make it very long, did he? And last but not least, we're welcoming back good old Jalon, who's going to be singing the role of Hamilton here. In the scene, early in Act 2, we get a sense of just what a relentless workaholic Alexander Hamilton was and how that affected detrimentally his family life and how it eventually led to a downward spiral, which we'll learn about in the next song, right? But here's Take a Break.
Said we knew. Good. Said we knew. Said we knew. Said we knew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
My dearest Angelica, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty place from day to day. I trust you'll understand the reference from a different strategy with the play. They think me Macbeth. My vision is a folly. I'm a polymath, the pain in the ass, massive pain. Madison is Banquo, Jefferson's Macduff, and Burnham with his Congress on its way to destiny.
And there you are, an ocean away. You have to live an ocean away. Thoughts of you subside, then I get another letter, and I cannot put the notion away.
Take a break.
I'm on my way.
There's a little surprise before supper, and it cannot wait.
I'll be there in just a minute, save my place.
Alexander,
Okay.
our son is 9 years old today. He has something he'd like to say. He's been practicing my name is Philip. I am a poet. I wrote this poem just to show it. And I just turned 9. You can write rhymes, but you can't write mine.
What?
I practice French and play piano with my mother.
Uh-huh.
I have a sister, but I want a little brother.
Okay.
My daddy's trying to start America's Bay.
Take a break.
Hey, our kid is pretty great.
Run away with us for the summer. Let's go upstate.
Realize I got so much on my plate.
Can all go stay with my father? There's a lake I know by a nearby bar.
I'd love to go.
You and I can go when the night gets dark.
I try my best to get away.
My dearest Alexander, you must get through to Jefferson. Sit down with him and compromise. Don't stop till you agree. Your favorite older sister, Angelica, reminds you there's someone in your corner all the way across the sea. The letter I received from you 2 weeks ago, I noticed a comma in the middle of a phrase. It changed the meaning. Did you intend this? One stroke and you've consumed my waking days. It says, my dearest Angelica. With a comma after dearest, you've written my dearest Angelica. Anyway, all this to say, I'm coming home this summer at my sister's invitation. I'll be there with your family if you make your way upstate. I know you're very busy, I know your work's important, but I'm crossing the ocean and I just can't wait. You won't be an ocean away, you'll only be a moment away. Alexander, come downstairs, Angelica's arriving today. Angelica, Eliza,
The Schuyler sisters.
Alexander,
Hi.
it's good to see your face. Angelica, tell this man John Adams spends the summer with his family.
Angelica, tell my wife John Adams doesn't have a real job anyway.
You're not joining us, wait.
I'm afraid I cannot join you upstate.
Alexander, I came all this way. She came all this way. All this way, take a break.
You know I have to get this plan to Congress.
Run away with us for the summer, let's go
I'll lose
upstate.
my job if I don't get this to
We
Congress.
can all go stay with our father. There's a lake I know I'll miss your face. Screw your courage to the sticking place. I can go. And Liza's right. Take a break and get away. Run away with us for the summer. Let's go upstate where we can stay. We can all go stay with our father if you take your time. You will make your life. Close your eyes and dream when the night gets dark. Take a break.
I have to get this plan to Congress. I can't stop until I get this plan to Congress.
There's nothing like summer in the city. Someone under stress meets someone looking pretty. There's trouble in the air, you can smell it. And Alexander's by himself. I'll let him tell it.
I haven't slept in a week. I was weak, I was awake. You never seen a bastard orphan more in need of a break. Longing for Angelica, missing my wife. That's when Miss Mariah Reynolds walked into my life. She said,
I know you are a man of honor. I'm so sorry to bother you at home, but I don't know where to go. And I came here all alone.
she said,
My husband's doing me wrong, beating me, cheating me, mistreating me. Suddenly he's up and gone. I don't have the means to go on.
well, I offered her a loan. I offered to walk her home. She said,
You're too kind, sir.
I gave her $30 and I had socked away. She lived a block away. She said,
This one's mine, sir.
I said, well, I should head back home. She turned red. She led me to her bed, let her legs spread and said,
Stay.
hey.
Hey.
That's when I began to pray, Lord, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this, but my God, she looks so helpless. And her body saying hell yes. No, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this. There is nowhere I can go. When her body's on mine, I do not say
No! Say no to this, no!
Yes.
Say no to this, no! Say no to this, no! Say no to this.
I wish I could say that was the last time I said that last time. It became a pastime. A month into this endeavor, I received a letter from a Mr. James Reynolds. Even better, it said,
Dear sir, I hope this letter finds you in good health and in a prosperous enough position to put, well, in the pockets of people like me down on their luck. You see, that was my wife who you decided to... Uh-oh, you made the wrong sucker a cucko, so time to pay the piper for the pants you unbuckle. And hey, you can keep seeing my whore wife if the price is right. If not, I'm telling your wife.
I had the letter and I raced to a place, screamed out, could you in the face? She said,
No, sir.
half-dressed, apologetic, a mess. She looked pathetic, she cried.
Please don't go, sir.
So is your whole story a setup?
I don't know about any letters.
Stop crying, goddammit, get up.
I didn't know any better.
I am ruined.
Please don't leave me, I am helpless.
How can I do this?
Just give him what he wants and you
I don't
can
want
have
you.
me.
I don't want
Whatever
you.
you want.
I don't.
If you pay, you can stay.
Show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this. But my God, she looks so helpless.
Helpless.
In situations helpless. No, show me how to say no to this. How can I say no to this? There is nowhere I can go. But her body's on mine. I do not say no. Yeah.
Say no to this, no! Say no to this, no!
Yes.
Say no to this, no!
Yes.
Say no to this.
Say no to this. I don't say no to this. There is nowhere I can go.
So?
Nobody needs to know.
Awesome. And of course, no break there between Take a Break and Say No to This. We go right from Alexander's deteriorating family life into his infamous affair with Mariah Reynolds, sung there by Sierra Silva. Go ahead and give us a wave, Sierra. In the role of Alexander Hamilton there, Amelia, very versatile Amelia McGee. And we just have a few more from our Hamilton set for you right now. Next up, Ivanelie Mangual is going to be singing the role of the jilted and insulted Eliza Hamilton, who had to deal with a lot, to say the least.
I saved every letter you wrote me. From the moment I read them, I knew you were mine. You said you were mine. I thought you were mine. Do you know what Angelica said when we saw your first letter arrive? She said, be careful with that one, love. You will do what it takes to survive. You and your words flooded my senses. Your sentences left me defenseless. You built me palaces out of paragraphs. You built cathedrals. I'm rereading the letters you wrote me. I'm searching and scanning for answers in every line. Some kind of sign when you were mine. The world seemed to burn. You published the letter she wrote you. You told the whole world how you brought this girl into our bed. In clearing your name, you've ruined our lives. Do you know what Angelica said when she read what you'd done? She said,
Icarus. He has flown too close to the sun. You and your words obsessed with your legacy. Your sentences border on senseless, and you are paranoid in every paragraph how they perceive you. I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Liza reacted when you broke her heart. You've torn it all apart, I'm watching it burn. Watching it burn. The world has no right to my heart. The world has no place in our bed. They don't get to know what I said. I'm burning the memories, burning the letters that might have redeemed you. You forfeit all rights to my heart. You forfeit the place in our bed. You'll sleep in your office instead with only the memories of when you were mine. I hope that you
Now, for our Hamilton finale. This is the end of this set, but not the end of the show, of course. We've got 2 more sets, if you can believe it. Next to Normal is on deck, and we'll close out tonight with Children of Eden. Thank you again so much for joining us. As we close out our Hamilton set, I just want to commend all of the performers who had to become very, very versatile, stretch in different directions. Females who had to sing parts that are written in male registers, people who had to get comfortable with declaiming an amazing amount of text in a very narrow amount of metric time. We're going to end this set with the finale of the show, which is called Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. This is one about memory. It's about legacy. I'm going to start with Xavier is going to lead off as George Washington, and we're going to hear Amelia as Angelica Schuyler. But this one's really about Eliza, as we learn at the end of Hamilton. This is really Eliza's song. So we're going to welcome back Katie to sing the role of Eliza here.
Let me tell you what I wish I'd known when I was young and dreamed of glory. You have no control.
Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
President Jefferson.
I'll give him this. His financial system is a work of genius. I couldn't undo it if I tried. And I tried.
Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
President Madison.
He brought our country from bankruptcy to prosperity. I hate to admit it, but he doesn't get enough credit for all the credit he gave us.
Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
Every other founding father's story gets told. Every other founding father gets to grow old.
And when you're gone, who remembers your name? Who keeps your flame? Who tells your story?
Who tells your story?
Eliza, myself back in the narrative. Eliza, wasting time on tears. I live another 50 years. It's not enough. Eliza, I've been killing every soldier who fought by your side.
She tells our story.
Trying to make sense of your thousands of pages of writings. You really do write like you're running out of time. I rely on Angelica. While she's alive, we tell your story. She is buried in Trinity Church near you. When I needed her most, she was right on time. And I'm still not through. I ask myself, what would you do if you had more time? The Lord in his kindness, he gives me what you always wanted. He gives me more time. I raise funds in DC for the Washington Monument.
She tells my story.
I speak out against slavery. You could have done so much more if you only had time. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will I tell your story? Oh, can I show you what I'm proudest of? The orphanage. Established the first private orphanage in New York City. The orphanage. Helped raise hundreds of children. I get to see them growing up. The orphanage. In their eyes I see you, Alexander. I see you every time. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will they tell your story? Oh, I can't wait to see you again. It's only a matter of time. They tell your story. Lives who dies, who tells your story. They tell your story. Lives who dies, who tells your story.
That's going to do it for our Hamilton set. We're going to send most of our singers off stage now, let them get a drink of water, but we'll be back in just a couple of moments to start our next to normal set. So no official break right now. A very taboo subject, frankly, namely mental illness. And arguably the lead character of the show, Diana, here sung by Amelia, struggles with a host of mental illness issues, including bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and other conditions which are alluded to and hinted at through the show. The show is really about how there is really no cure for mental illness. We treat the symptoms, but often treating the symptoms just puts us back at square one with having to treat other issues, side effects, if you will. So we have the moral ambiguity of the psychopharmacology industry, but ultimately this is a show about family. And here's the matriarch of the family, Diana Goodman.
There was a time when I flew higher. Was a time the wild girl running free would be me. Now I see her, feel her fire. Now I know she needs me there to care. I'm nowhere. All these blank and tranquil years, seems they've dried up all my tears. And while she runs free and fast, seems my wild days are past. But I miss the mountains. I miss the dizzy heights, all the manic magic days, and the dark depressing nights. I miss the mountains. highs and lows, all the climbing, all the falling, all the wild wind blows, stinging you with snow and soaking you with rain. I miss the mountains, I miss the pain. The mountains make you crazy. Here it's safe and sound. My mind is somewhere hazy. My feet are on the ground. Everything is balanced here and on an even keel. Everything looks perfect. Nothing's real. Nothing's real. And I miss the mountains. I miss the lonely climb, wandering through the wilderness and spending all my time where the air is clear and cuts you like a knife. I miss the mountains. I miss the mountains. I miss my life. I miss my life.
Amelia McGee as Diana Goodman. The next song is actually part of a trio of songs. We begin by welcoming back our friend Xavier, who's going to be singing the role of the frustrated father who's tasked not only with supporting a family and caring for his daughter, but also with dealing from the trauma of his deceased infant son, here sung in the adult apparition form by Jalon. We also meet the somewhat spunky and rambunctious daughter for a moment, here sung by or spoken by Emily, that's Natalie Goodman. And of course, because this show is about family, it's really about the relationship between Dan, the father, and his wife, the mentally ill Diana, who at this point decides to throw her caution to the wind by flushing her medication. And the results are fiery, to say the least. But first, tender ballad from Xavier. These are a set of 3 songs that are one.
He's not here, he's not here. Love, I know you know. Do you feel he's still real? Love, that's just not so. Why is it you still believe? Do you dream or do you grieve? You got to let him go. He's been dead 16 years. No, my love, he's not here.
This is fucked.
Language.
Fuck this.
It was really nice to meet you both.
What about the new meds?
We have the happiest septic tank on the block.
Jesus, they were working.
They weren't. Really.
Well, fine. We'll just get a new round.
No.
Diana, I know this is hard.
You know. Really. What exactly do you know?
I know you're hurting. I am too.
Do you wake up in the morning and need help to lift your head? Do you read obituaries and feel jealous of the dead? It's like living on a cliffside, not knowing when you'll dive. Do you know what it's like to die alive? When the world that once had color fades to white and gray and black. When tomorrow terrifies you, but you'll die if you look back. You don't know. I know you don't know. You say that you're hurting, but it sure doesn't show. You don't know. And it lays me so low when you say let go, and I say you don't know. The sensation that you're screaming, but you never make a sound. Or the feeling that you're falling, but you never hit the ground. It just keeps on rushing at you, day by day by day by day. You don't know what it's like to live that way. Like a refugee, a fugitive, forever on the run. If it gets me, it will kill me, but I don't know what I've done.
Can you tell me what it is you're afraid of? Can you tell me why I'm afraid it's me? Can I touch you? We've been fine for so long now. How can something go wrong that I can't see? 'Cause I'm holding on, and I won't let go. I just thought you should know I am the one who knows you. I am the one who cares. I am the one who's always been there. I am the one who's helped you. And if you think that I just don't give a damn, well, you just don't know who I am. Could you leave me? That it's me. Could you let me go under? Why can't you see? Will you watch as I drown and wonder why? Are you bleeding? Are you wishing? Are you wanting us that she can't give? Are you bruised? Are you broken? Are you healing? Are you hoping for a life to live? Does it help you to know? Well, so am I. Look at me. I won't let go. Look at me. Yeah, I thought you should know. I am the one who knows you. I am the one who'll stay. I am the one who won't walk away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am the one who's helped you. And now you tell me that I won't give a damn. Don't give a damn. I hope that you know who I am. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's who I am. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's who I am. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's who I am. 'Cause I'm holding on,
Say you hurt like
and I
me.
won't let go.
You say that you
I just thought you should know.
You don't know.
I am the one who knows you. I am the one who cares. I am the one who's always been there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am the one who hears you. And if you think that I just don't give a damn,
When I say
you don't know who I am.
you don't know.
Who I am. You just don't know who I am.
So great to put this music together, and obviously with the challenges of presenting a trio like this, we just want to take a shout out again to our DAT team, to our theater tech, for bringing this presentation. In a normal world, we'd have these characters screaming at each other, and we are instead presenting to you the camera. So once again, thank you for joining us this evening. I'm going to invite Jalon to stay for the next song, and the other singers will depart for the moment. This one's sung by Dan, and it's called I've Been.
Standing in this room, well, I wonder what comes now. I know I have to help her, but hell if I know how. And all the time that I've been told the way her illness goes, the truth of it is no one really knows. And every day this act we act gets more and more absurd. And all the fears just sit inside me screaming to be heard, though they won't utter not a single word. I was here by her side when she called, when she cried. How could she leave me on my own? Will it work, this cure? There's no way to be sure. But I'm weary to the bone, and whenever she goes flying, I keep my feet right on the ground. Oh, now I need a lift and there's no one around. Hey, oh, oh, ah, ooh, yeah. And I never had to face the world without her at my side. Now I'm strolling right beside her as the black coat opens wide. Mine is just a slower suicide. I was here for the show, every high, every low. It's the worst we ever known. She's been hurt and how, but I can't give up now, 'cause I've never been alone. I can never be alone.
Jalon Copeland in the role of Dan Goodman here. Dan's reaction to Diana's worsening condition is to shrug his shoulders and ask, what do I do now? Diana is far more resolute. So I'm going to invite Emily to come on stage. She's going to be singing Diana as we'll say goodbye to Jalon for a couple of minutes. And accompanied by Brianna here, who's going to be speaking the role of the doctor. And needless to say, the doctor in this story is a morally checkered individual, rather liberally free-spirited with the prescription pad, and sometimes to Diana's detriment, the show suggests at least. This one's called Didn't I See This Movie? And this takes place just as Diana is, they're pitching to her that she should undergo ECT. She should have her brain shocked to deal with her underlying condition. Diana's got something to say about that, though.
Didn't I see this movie with McMurphy and the nurse? That hospital was heavy, but this cuckoo's nest is worse. And isn't this the one where in the end the good guys ride? Didn't I see this movie and didn't I cry? Didn't I cry?
The procedure is clean and simple. The amount of energy required is barely enough to light a 100-watt bulb.
What makes you think I lose my mind for you? I'm no sociopath. I'm no Sylvia Plath. I ain't no Francis Farmer kind of fine for you. So stay out of my brain. I'm no princess of pain. Didn't I see this movie where the doctor looked like you? And the patient got impatient and said, sorry, doc, I'm through. I know where this is going, and I know what you're about. 'Cause I have seen this movie, and I walked out. I walked out. I'm walking.
Emily Burns there, and Didn't I See This Movie? We're now going to fast forward to Act 2 of Next to Normal, so I'm going to ask Emily to depart for just a few minutes, as we'll see, and I'm going to welcome back Amelia. Next to Normally is an unusual musical in some ways, in many ways. One of the strange things about it is that it doesn't have a very satisfying ending. In fact, some people might say that there isn't any ending at all. There's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. I think the closest thing we get to an ending is going to be represented in this duet, sung here by Amelia as Diana, and Brianna is going to be the birthday girl, Brianna, by the way, I should mention. Yay, happy birthday. Singing the role of Natalie Goodman. The first time, really, in the show that there's a meaningful discussion, dialogue between mother and daughter.
Maybe I've lost it at last. Maybe my last lucid moment has passed. I'm dancing with death, I suppose. But really, who knows? Could be I'm crazy to go. They say you should stay with the devil, you know. But when life needs a change, and the one devil won't, you fly to the devil, you don't. Maybe I'm tired of the game, of coming up short of the rules of the shame. And maybe you feel that way too. I see me in you, a girl full of anger and hope, a girl with a mother who just couldn't cope, a girl who felt caught and thought no one could see. But maybe one day she'll be free.
It's so lovely that you're sharing. No, really, I'm all ears. But where has all this caring been for 16 years? For all those years I prayed that you'd go away for good. Half the time afraid that you really would. When I thought you might be dying, I cried for all we'd never be. But there'll be no more crying, not for me.
Things will get better, you'll see.
Not for me.
You'll see.
Not for me.
You'll see.
Not for me.
You'll see.
Not for
You'll
me.
see. Maybe we can't be okay, but maybe we're tough and we'll try anyway. We'll live with what's real, let go of what's past, and maybe I'll see you at last. We tried to give you a normal life. I realize now I have no clue what that is.
I don't need a life that's normal. That's way too far away. But something next to normal would be okay. Yeah, something next to normal. That's the thing I'd like to try. Close enough to normal to get by.
We'll get by.
We'll get by.
Well, if you're at home and you feel like you've been chopping onions or your allergies are acting up, you're not alone. Next up, I want to welcome back Sierra, who's going to be singing Diana here in the penultimate song of the show called So Anyway, when Diana decides that in order to do what's best for her, she's going to make an unconventional decision.
So anyway, I'm leaving. I thought you'd like to know you're faithful come what may, but clearly I can't stay. We'd both go mad that way. So here I go. And anyway, I'm leaving. I guess that you can see I'll try this on my own, a life I've never known. I'll face the dread alone, but I'll be free with you always beside me to catch me when I fall. I'd never get to know the feel of solid ground at all. With you always believing that we can still come through, it makes me feel a fool to know that it's not true. What doctors call dysfunction, we tried to call romance. And true, it's quite a trick to tell the dancer from the dance. But rather than let chance take me, I'll take a chance. I'll take a chance on leaving. It's that or stay and die. I loved you once, and though you love me still, I know it's time for me to fly. I loved you once, and though I love you still, I know it's time for me to go. And so,
So we make it to the end of our Next to Normal set. One of a few songs tonight that seems especially resonant as we make our way to the end of 2020. Song that comes at the end of a musical that doesn't have a neat and tidy resolution. Instead, it ends with the full cast simply beseeching each other and themselves and the universe itself, it seems, for more light.
Sit here in the dark and all alone. It's a sorry sight. It's just you and me. We'll live, you'll see.
Night after night, we sit and wait for the morning light, but
we've waited far too long for all that's wrong to be made right.
Day after day, wishing all our cares away, trying to fight the things we feel, but some hurts never heal. Some ghosts are never gone, but we go on. We still go on, and you find some way to survive, and you find out you don't have to be happy at all to be happy or alive. Day after day, give me clouds and rain and gray. Give me pain if that's what's real. It's the price we pay to feel.
The price of love is lost, but still we pay. We love anyway.
And when the night is finally gone, we wait to see the new day dawn. We wondered how we wandered for so long, so blind. The ways to where we thought we knew, our lights will shine and look brand new. So let it
shine, shine, shine. Day after day after day, I live to find a way, knowing that the darkest skies will someday see the sun.
When our long night is done, there will be
There will be light when we open up our lives. Sons and daughters, husbands, wives, can fight that fight. There will be light. There will be light. There will be light. There will be light.
May there be more light for all of us. I'm going to ask the singers to take one last break, and this time we're going to take 5 minutes, I think, in case our performers, they've been working since a couple of hours ago. So we'll give them a little water break. We'll give you at home a time to refill your water glass or whatever it is you're drinking. We won't ask. But we'll be back in about 5 minutes. So thank you so much for staying with us. And, of course, keep that stream rolling because we've got one more set. Some might say the best is yet to come. Welcome back. Hello to you at home. Thank you for staying with us during this robust program. In a normal semester, it would be inconceivable, I think, in most semesters to be this productive. However, we've got a precocious group here, ambitious, and they've really risen to every challenge. So before I bring out Brianna and Emily to start our next and final set, I thought I might talk a little bit about this next show because it's probably the least well-known show of our trio of musicals that we're reviewing here tonight. The show Children of Eden was composed, that is to say music and lyrics, by Stephen Schwartz, who's living in Ridgefield, Connecticut, if you can believe it. Stephen Schwartz, of course, wrote Pippin, which we'll be performing next semester in a fully staged musical, and also wrote Godspell, The Baker's Wife. But Children of Eden is a show that perhaps doesn't get as much press as the others, and I think the reason for that, because it's an extremely demanding show. The music is tough, and it calls for large ensemble parts, which sometimes split into 6, 7, or sometimes even 8 different voices. Fortunately for us, our singers were up to the challenge of learning this very difficult music. And I'd like to just tell you a little bit about the story of Children of Eden so you can follow along. Actually, it's a story that I would surmise most of you are familiar with. As the title suggests, this is a story that takes us back, way back. It's loosely based on the creation narrative, but of course there are liberties taken with that narrative. We begin in the Garden of Eden, where God, in the score referred to as Father, has created creatures in his own image, and he calls them children. And we get the creation narrative unfolding much as it does in Genesis. Of course, we know what happens to Adam and Eve. They get themselves kicked out, as the story narrates it, of the Garden of Eden. And when we open our set, we're going to catch up with Cain and Abel, who are a few generations removed from Adam and Eve, and they're living in the wilderness. One can imagine a wasteland, no trees, stinking of brimstone, barren and desolate. And Cain and Abel have very different opinions about life and the world and the lot and the hand dealt to them. Abel is simply grateful for what he has. Cain is truculent. Cain is resentful. Cain is wondering, why can't we live in the garden? Why do we have to suffer for our parents' malfeasance? This song is called Lost in the Wilderness, and it's Cain lamenting to Abel that if they don't move, they're going to be stuck in the wasteland forever. Now, of course, Cain and Abel in the story are brothers, but in this production, we've transposed the music to suit the voices of our singers. And so I want to welcome out Emily Burns, who's going to be singing the role of Abel, and Brianna Mattingly, the birthday girl, who's going to be singing the role of Cain here. This song is called Lost in the Wilderness.
Oh, Father, these gifts may you receive to thank you.
Abel, come with me. We can't stay rotting here forever.
Here we are, your grateful children. Please accept our sacrifice.
All these years of these cruel jokes, the best of our harvest going up in smoke, praying for the future of these silent stony shells. How much more of this must we take? This is the moment we finally make a future for ourselves.
But Cain, if it's God's will that we are put here,
Is it God's will, or have we all been conned? Abel, we will never know, we will never grow if we never go beyond.
we promised Cain.
We won't be the first ones to break a promise. I never made this world, I didn't even use it, and I know no one said was fair, but they had a garden once, they had the chance to choose it, they gave it away, including my share, and now we're lost in the wilderness, lost
searching, it seems they couldn't care less. We're lost in the wilderness.
I can't believe that.
Why can't you? You follow all the rules, you swallow all the stories, and every night you wish on a star. Dreaming your day would come, trusting in allegories, and every morning, boy, look where you are. Lost in the wilderness, lost, slowly dying in the wilderness, with no chance of living, boy, until you confess you're lost in the wilderness. Did you ever watch the eagle fly to the sun and wonder how he got to feel so free? If you ever have, you know the journey's begun. Hey, what have we got to lose, boy, when already we are lost in the wilderness? And where we are headed, boy, I couldn't even guess. But off we go without a warning, running as we hit the ground, where our future lies a borning, where our hearts are outward bound. To a bright and distant morning we may stop and look around, and there in the wilderness finally will be found.
Rest of the cast. Next up, finale of Act 1, called Children of Eden, same as the show title. In it, Eve, here sung by Emily, talks about the impact of how a parent's decisions can influence the trajectory and the life of their progeny, their children, and their children's children. And I think ultimately the message is, no matter what happens and what your parents do, one has to make one's own way in the world.
Like this brief day, my light is nearly gone, but through the night, my children, you will go on. You will know heartache, prayers that don't work, and times of bitter circumstances. But I still believe in second chances. Children of Eden, where have we left you? Born to uncertainty, destined for pain. Sins of your parents haunt you and test you. This your inheritance. I
We're going to pick up in Act 2 and keep the ensemble in place. I think most of us who are at least somewhat familiar with the Genesis narrative know about, well, the flood. Act 2 is primarily centered around the flood. And so as we pick up with this song, A Piece of Eight, well, we learn about Noah and his family putting the finishing touches on the ark with one final peg of gopher wood. I'll never forget gopher wood after this semester. In this number, we are really talking about two people, Japheth, the youngest son, sung by Jalon here, and Yonah, the woman he wants to marry, sung by Katie. Katie is a descendant of Cain, and thus bears the mark of Cain. And thus, she's not really a desirable candidate for Japheth to bring home, so to speak. And I think this song has a meaningful resonance in the modern age. How many of us can relate to bringing home a significant other where mom and dad are perhaps not so warm at first, but after gradually wrapping their heads around the idea, warm and accept that person into the family? Yonah is first ostracized from the family because she bears the mark of Cain, but of course by the end, the family was 8.
And Noah and his family worked from sun to sun to sun,
till the day before the prow he stood and said,
With this peg of gopher wood, your ark, O Lord, is done.
with one final peg of gopher wood, the ark at last was done. And Noah called to his servant girl, Yonah was her name. He had always treated her kindly, though she bore the mark of shame. As the daughter of the tainted race, she bore the mark of Cain. And she came and bowed the servant girl with the mark upon her head. And she asked,
What do you wish, my lord?
and this is what he said. He said,
Yonah, lay the table, for tonight we celebrate. For tonight, instead of 7 places, tonight there will be 8.
tonight instead of 7 places, tonight there would be 8. For this was the night the youngest son, Japheth was his name, would bring to dinner his wife to be, and his choice proclaim. And the empty chair was meant for her, the girl to be his wife, who would journey with him on the ark to a post-diluvian life. He said,
Yonah set the table, don't forget the extra plates, 'cause tonight instead of 7 people, tonight there will be 8.
tonight instead of 7 people, tonight there would be 8. First came Noah and his wife in a bright and merry mood, eager to meet their daughter-in-law and share their home and food, and add her to their brood. Next came the brothers to Ham and Shem, and the daughters of the race of Seth, they chose to marry them. Their beautiful wives from the race of Seth they brought along with them. Oh, Father, for all we have received, we thank you. Once more we gather in the dying love.
For all I have received.
Once more we pray you, Father, bless us tonight. And the courses came and the minutes passed and the girl did not appear, till Noah turned to Japheth and he said,
My son, I fear.
Japheth laughed and laughed some more. He told them all,
She's here.
now you've guessed what happens next, for it's quite a familiar fable.
He went to Yona, the servant girl, and led her to the table. He said,
Yona, come to the table. Come sit here at my side. 'Cause it's your love best in all the world, and I want you for my bride. It's your love best in all the world, and I want you for my bride.
He brought Yona to the table, and he did not hesitate. Though his father said to wait, and his mother was in a state, and the brothers and wives had the shock of their lives, and they all took out their forks and knives, and they all could calculate. The family was 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, we're going to keep Yona on stage, here sung by Kennedy, and we'll bid adieu to the company who will come back momentarily. This next one is called Stranger to the Rain. It's sung from the perspective of the downtrodden Yona, who's lived a life of hardship because she's of the race of Cain. And with an impending flood, while everyone else is scrambling for shelter and terrified of the future, Yona faces the uncertainty of the future with brave resolve.
Shed no tears for me, they'll be raining up today. I'm wishing you Godspeed as I wave you on your way. This won't be the first time I've stayed behind to face the bitter consequences of an ancient call from grace. I'm a daughter of the race of Cain. I am not a stranger to the rain. Orphan in the storm, that's a role I've played before. I've learned not to tremble when I hear the thunder roar. I don't curse what I can't change, I just play the hand I'm dealt. And when they lighten up the rations, I tighten up my belt. I won't say I've never felt the pain. I am not a stranger to the rain. And for the boy who's given me the sweetest love I've known, I wish for him another love so he won't be alone. For I am bound to walk among the wounded and the slain. And when the storm comes crashing on the plain, I will dance before the lightning to music sacred and profane. Oh, shed no tears for me, light no candle for my sake. This journey I'll be making now is one we all must make. Shoulder to the wind, I'll turn my face into the spray. And when the heavens open, let the drops fall where they may. When they finally wash away the stain, for a daughter of the race of Cain, I am not a stranger to the rain. Let it rain.
The character of Yona features very prominently in Act 2, and we're going to welcome out our next Yona, sung by Emily Burns here. But she's not alone in this scene. In this duet, she and her, well, at this point their lovers, Japheth, are lamenting the reality of the situation. Endless rain, the sun is nowhere in sight, nothing but clouds as far as the eye can see. What if there is no end to this crisis? Again here, I think life imitates art. Perhaps we could look at it vice versa. In this number, Japheth and Yona take solace and refuge in each other's arms here across the stage, and acknowledge to one another that even if the world crumbles around them, as long as they have one another, everything will be okay.
I don't give a damn for the thunder of fathers, come hell or high water, whatever they do. I could not live in a world without you. In whatever time we have, for as long as we are living, we could face whatever comes. If we face it now as one, I could make it on my own. Let me know that I don't have to. No one really wants to be alone. In whatever time we have, if at times we are afraid, with so little to believe in, it's all right to feel afraid. I will hold you in the dark. All we know for sure is this: though the world could end tomorrow, we'll be together in whatever time we have.
For as long as we're living,
we know life can
face
be
whatever
a battlefield.
if we face it now as one,
and we won't fear. You'll be my fortress, and I will be your shield. No one really wants to be alone. In whatever time we have,
there are times I've been afraid of a world that's so uncertain, and I feel your hand in mine, and there's courage in my heart.
we could live 100 years, or the world could end tomorrow, but we know we'll be together in whatever time. From this day forward, lights won't seem so black. From this day forward, we won't ever look back. From whatever time we have, we will make the most of time. Together in whatever time we have.
I'm going to ask Emily and Xavier to stay on stage. Two ensembles, numbers left for you here tonight, both of which, once again, I think can easily be interpreted as reflecting our present circumstances with what kind of year we've had in 2020. We have to cast our gaze to the horizon and look for that sun peeking through the clouds, and that's exactly what we're going to have in the next number. This one's called Ain't It Good? It's the penultimate number in the show, and it's our penultimate number here tonight. So I want to welcome out the rest of the cast, including Brianna Mattingly, who's going to be singing the role of Mama here, the mother of Noah's children and the family on the ark, but in a way, the light of the one who gets to spread the light, the one who sees that first glimmer of hope and spreads that joy to the rest of the family and here to the rest of our ensemble. This number is written in a gospel style, and I think it perfectly encapsulates the sense of joy that Noah and his family felt, if you think about the narrative in Genesis, and certainly the joy that we on stage feel presenting to you tonight after such a long hiatus of being unable to perform. Here we are at NVCC making musical theater happen. Thanks again to our brilliant minds in our tech department, Professor Ray Leet and his DAT team, and of course, Brian Kelly and Chris Varenko up in the recording booth right now. 2 numbers to go. I want to thank them once more before we head to the end. This one's called Ain't It Good?
Oh, look out there in the eastern sky. Is that a hint of light? Oh, come and look. I need to know if I am seeing right. We've lived so long in dark, I'm almost frightened to believe those clearing skies on that glistening horizon. Please tell me my eyes do not deceive me. Ain't it sweet to smell the morning in a world washed fresh and clean? Now the storm has left its warning, and we see a hint of green. Every line grows strong and golden and release us from our pain. Where we rocked for endless days on a sea of endless grace, now we sing a song of praise. Amen. Ain't it good now? Ain't it good to see the sun again? When my ears were filled with thunder, when my soul began to shake, there were times I truly wondered if those clouds would ever break, but those stars will last forever. We felt so helpless, where we read the joyful chant for a glimpse of olive plants. Haven't seen one since I can't remember when it felt so good. Blue skies are clearing, our hearts began to dance, our hopes are reappearing. We've got a second chance, and for now, we're done with fearing. We might be the final generation. Your dawn is still and fresh, hoping won't let it
it's over. I have to tell you anecdotally, just before we finish our set tonight, finish our show, this has been one of, and I don't like to use needless hyperbole, this is one of the most exciting shows I've ever been a part of. And to do it with masks and distancing in this unusual circumstance and to still sound so good is a testament to all the singers on stage. So they'll have their bows in a moment, but since I'll be playing for your bows, just want to acknowledge you right now because this has been such a special semester. And thank you again to not only our tech people, but also to our amazing administration who allowed this to happen and gave us the green light to move forward and keep the music and the theater and the art flowing despite the restrictions. So this one's called In the Beginning.
This step is once again our first. We set our feet upon our virgin land. We hold the promise of the earth in our hands. No flood from heaven comes again. No deluge will destroy and purify. We hold the fate of man and man in our hands. Now at this dawn so green and glad, we pray that we may long remember how lovely was the world we had in the beginning. Of all the gifts we have received, one is most precious and most terrible. The will in each of us is free, is in our hands. And if someday we hear a voice, if he should speak again, our silent Father, all he will tell us is the choice is in our hands. Our hands can choose to drop the knife. Our hearts can choose to stop the hating. For every moment of our lives is the beginning.
From all the journey come so far we cannot stop and change direction.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Come check us out next semester when we have our full production of Pippin. We can't wait to see you then. In the meantime, stay warm, stay safe. Have a good night.
Dankeschön.
Bye.